Hello and welcome to another episode of Lunch and Learn with Vince. This is Vince Marino, and I have my good friend Will Zell, formerly from the company called Nikola Labs, now renaming it AssetWatch. Will, welcome.
Vince, it is great to be back on here with you. It's been about a year, and all I can say is I look a year older and you look a year wiser. So I don't know what you're doing to take care of yourself, but it's working, obviously.
You're being kind. Thank you.
It's
Tell me,
really good to see you, man. Really good
you
to see you.
too. You too. It's been 1 year. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about what's going on. I mean, the last time we talked, you were at Nikola Labs. I was sharing with our viewers that you had the honor of receiving a Entrepreneur of the Year award for folks under 30. This is a few years ago, and all of a sudden, a year later, here we are rebranding, and I'm excited. It's Asset Watch.
Yep. It is AssetWatch, and it's been a journey to get here. And so to maybe go back in time a little bit, Nikola Labs, our journey began in October 2014 as a spin out from the Ohio State University. And so we commercialized core technology that was focused on really cool tech in and around far field wireless power transfer. So getting power from point A to point B over distances without wires. Very cool. However, very hard technology and very much frontier. And so we spent the first few years of the company developing the core technology and then really looking broadly at the world in different applications to see where we could apply the tech and create value. And that was a journey that led us in kind of towards the end of 2017 into the world of sensor-based condition monitoring, which was somewhat serendipitous and not necessarily intentional to find this space. But once we found it, we fell in love with it, quite frankly. And so over the course of 2018, as we looked at the problem to be solved within the customer set, in and around eliminating unplanned downtime in manufacturing facilities, to be able to put together a system, to put together a company that really goes after that problem and solves it, is big. It's huge. It's huge first and foremost for the customers that are served, and then a great opportunity that was emerging from a market perspective. And so, over that journey, we basically had a full evolution as a company. So we went from a very specific type of hardware, frontier technology focused company to what we've built today and brought to market really starting in 2019 and beyond, which is this full stack, full system, all-in-one solution to help manufacturing facilities rapidly install sensor-based condition monitoring, scale it across their organization, and frankly, eliminate unplanned downtime. And when you look at that journey over the course of the time, and I'm one of the co-founders of the company and named the company Nikola Labs, the best way I can talk about it is Nikola Labs was really a brand that was about the dream of an innovator whose name is Nikola Tesla from over 100 years ago, one of the greatest minds to ever live. And he was the pioneer of wireless power technology. And so we named the company after him. But on our journey to where we are today, we actually discovered our own dream. As a startup company, as a bunch of individuals who are passionate and want to create change in this world. And we found a way to do that. And the rebrand to AssetWatch is basically our line in the sand, if you will, where we put our flagpole down, that this is now the brand as we move forward, which is really a promise to our customers and a promise to the world in and around our dedicated and sole focused on our entire organization, completely focused on taking care of our customers' assets, monitoring them, helping them detect and resolve issues quickly, and like caring for those assets as if they were our own. So Asset
Right.
Watch is a very literal brand to reflect that promise.
Yeah, it really shows. I guess the way I look at it is it actually tells the story in the title. I mean,
Yep.
what you're talking about is you're watching your assets, protecting them.
Yep.
And
That's exactly right.
so So it's been a year, and now all of a sudden it's changing to AssetWatch. I'm assuming that in that year of development, new products may have evolved, or new services, or upgrades. So I'm wondering if we can kind of take a quick peek at Nikola in the past and where we are today, and maybe draw some comparisons, any growth mode. Have you got some new evolution to the existing products, making it better, so on and so forth?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the product that we first brought to the market in this space in 2019 is Vero, which is still the name of this product line.
Right.
And what Vero does is it starts with a sensor that monitors vibration and temperature data primarily on rotating equipment, so gearboxes, bearings, pumps, compressors, the components that are in every single manufacturing facility in the world, driving the function and process. And as you know, that with vibration data, it's super interesting. I'm not trained in that world, but I find it absolutely fascinating
It is.
that within the proper set of vibration data, there are over 100 very specific machine issues that you can detect in the data, that you can see generally weeks, if not months, ahead of them actually causing a breakdown event, right? It's very much like, um, going in for a checkup and the doctor sees something and say, hey, let's do an EKG. And they look at your heart and we're looking at squiggly lines, and the trained professional says, oh no, you have a 85% blocked artery. We need to, we need
Right.
to take care of that. And
Right.
the value of proactively taking care of that versus responding to a heart attack is a very big value. And so that Vero line has been the vast majority of our growth, and it's been very successful. Thankfully, because of our customers, right? I mean, we've got a very tight relationship with our customers. We position ourselves in for very long-term relationships, and hope that they see us as an extension of their team and not just a service provider. And so, what we bring to the table with Vero is the hardware, the communications network in a facility that we have our own internal team of field service techs that will go out and rapidly install it. So we can get a facility built out in a day, and starting install in the morning, and by the end of the day, you've got vibration data up into the cloud. And then one of the things that is most critical, and again, part of being part of our customers team, is we have an amazing and growing group of condition monitoring engineers. So these are category 2, 3, and 4 trained vibration analysts.
Right.
And each customer facility has a data dedicated CME, is what we call them for short, assigned to their facility. And these CMEs, what they do is they take all of this vibration data that comes into AssetWatch, the software platform. We've got machine learning that basically brings to the top of the view assets that have for potential risks. So we literally call it asset risks. And then what the CME does is they do an analysis of that and then tee up to the customer a very prescriptive action that they need to take. So we're not focused on just giving vibration data or like, here you go, here's some visualization, but AssetWatch as a platform and as a brand has a bias towards action. And what I mean by that is we always want to be giving our customer the next step that they need to take in order to resolve that issue, because often it's a if this then that type of scenario when
Right.
you're trying to really resolve one of these problems. And so we want to detect issues as early as we can, work with the customer to resolve those issues as quickly and as efficiently as possible, and then tell the world about it in terms of their organization and the wonderful ROI that team and the facility has delivered. So that still is the core offering of the platform today that continues to grow with our customers. With that said, though, in this journey again that we've been on, very much about journeys. You'll hear me say that word often.
Yeah.
In this journey that we've been on, like what this all leads into is this view that we have of very fundamental transformations that are happening within maintenance and reliability organizations. And at a high level, we like to think about it around, if you go back and look over the last several decades, a lot of the culture within maintenance and reliability has been reactive by nature. So a machine breaks down and everything is built around fixing it as fast as possible, right? So if we
Right.
can take something that would have been down for 12 hours and we've got spare parts in the back so we can bring them in and we get it back up and running in 6 hours, that's a great save, right? But what we're experiencing now and the opportunity that we see is that there's a fundamental shift now to everything kind of being based on culture that is very proactive, right? And you've begun to see this emerge in industry over the last few years. Preventative maintenance, of course, is a thing. Predictive maintenance, prescriptive insight, all of these things are very key terms that are very much a part of the AssetWatch platform. But the
Right.
question is why? Like, what does that lead to? And what that ultimately leads to, from our point of view, is a platform or a culture within a facility that is completely focused on detection as early as possible, resolution as fast and as efficient and as low cost as possible, the reporting of that data across the organization, and then this learning cycle to always continuously be improving. So we see the greatest potential in front of us as a platform to build and become a platform that serves and helps organizations achieve that type of culture.
Right.
And
Let
so,
me look,
yeah,
can I jump in? That's a lot of
yeah,
information to
yeah.
unpack.
Please
So
jump in on my
no,
sermon. Sorry.
this is good. You're just on page one of a very long sermon, I'm sure. Let me ask you a couple of basics.
Sure,
To
absolutely.
me, it sounds like you can be involved in just about any industry, particularly industry with rotating equipment.
Yep,
Do I have that right? I mean, just
yep.
cross culture, cross industry, you can be a significant part there.
Yeah, so I think today we serve something like 11 or so, maybe even a couple more different sectors within manufacturing and in industry. So these are very common components across all types of manufacturing. And then we're also seeing a lot of opportunity in sectors like wastewater treatment, oil and gas. So, you know, rotating equipment is everywhere. And often, basically, when the pain point of the failure becomes significant is when we can create a meaningful amount of value.
Right. So maybe later on in the show, like towards the end, I think I might want to bring up something that we're working on that you might want to share your product at an event that we have. It's called Epic, and it'll be at a wastewater facility in Georgia. We can get into that
Awesome.
later. But some
Do
of
it.
without naming names, what type of businesses are you in right now? What type of industrial sectors? I mean, are you working at a municipality right now, water, wastewater? Are
Yeah.
you at a
Yep.
chemical plant?
Yeah, so yes to both of those. So
Okay.
we have a couple of customers within the wastewater, and it is a early but growing sector. We're in chemical manufacturing facilities, steel, paper and pulp, pharmaceuticals, food and beverage, literally. So, and we just recently last year were able to get a certification, Class 1 Div 1 here in the US for hazardous locations, explosive type of environments. So that's even opened up a new segment of facilities that we can serve: oil and gas, a lot of paint and coatings type
Right.
of facilities as well. So it is incredibly broad because the fundamental problem is the same, right? So long as it's process manufacturing, and if during a process an asset component fails and an asset goes down and the line goes down, and if that is an expensive event for a manufacturer, we can come in
Right.
and more or less eliminate that.
So, tell me, has anything changed since the last time we spoke as far as durability, battery life? I mean, and to describe this, unless you have a picture of Vero, to my viewers, it's about this big. It almost looks like a water filter, like a plastic kind of octagonal shape, kind of cylindrical device, right? And is it glued or epoxied or bolted onto the device? Maybe you
So
could drill down. I think I
yep,
shot out about 4 questions there, but
yeah, no problem.
yeah,
Yeah, what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a sensor that's durable, that's long lasting, and that can be rapidly installed. So it doesn't require any type of meaningful modification to the asset. The vast majority of the time, these are actually magnetically mounted. So a very heavy pull weight magnet that works great, and you can still receive high fidelity vibration
mhm,
reading from it.
mhm.
Um, for non-ferrous materials, we can do epoxy mounting as well. I will say, there's an old saying in the startup world that hardware is always hard. It as we've scaled now to tens of thousands of sensors in the field, we continuously learn around environments. So like high washdown environments or environments where there's corrosive material. We're learning. So we have a whole basically our engineering team's fantastic and includes basically a testing team that is focused on continually learning. If we have sensors that do go down, let's bring them in. Let's see what happened, and how do we then now think about, okay, the sensor that we have now probably serves 90% of the applications that we'll ever see, and that's great. But as we scale, that extra 10% is going to become a big number. So how do we think about a next generation sensor that is more specialized, whether it's in a washdown environment or a corrosive environment? So those are all, it's again that journey with our customers, and then having that full stack development capability, hardware, software,
Right.
um, installation to just, and it takes time to get through some of those development cycles. But again, that's what we want, how we want our customers to view us, that like, okay, this heavy washdown facility, now we may have had to remove some sensors from that area. We're doing this other area that's not, but give us like 18 months, 24 months, and we'll be back there. And that's the culture that we built here.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so important too, especially if you do have corrosive or high washdown, you're going to have some challenges with the product itself, and it gives you motivation to come up with bigger, better solutions for that resist these types of environments
Yep.
without
And yeah,
sacrificing sensitivity. I think
exactly.
that's the key because you could get something that's completely waterproof, this big, and then you're sacrificing the nuances, the vibration, the little blips on the radar. If you're
Yep.
so you have to, yeah,
It's a
that's a tough
balance.
one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it does fine in most washdown environments actually. It's just those like when you say washdown environment, that is a very big spectrum of actual practice in a facility, right? So like
Oh
the
yeah.
extreme of intense washdown, it's there's probably a better solution that we'll build for the future.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. Washdown could be anything from just water to 300-degree water and
Yeah,
soap and yeah, grit and all kinds of issues. So yeah.
exactly.
So where are you going from here as far as just I mean, I see the sky's the limit, but if you were to flesh out the direction that AssetWatch is going, um, where are you going?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that I would say, and kind of what we want people to connect to in our vision, is that we view AssetWatch as a platform. So Vero is a product, a full stack, full solution product that we brought to the market, but that's really opened up more of a platform type view and opportunity that we see, and that we're currently pursuing. And so when you think about a culture within a a facility itself, and then across an organization of, let's say, dozens of facilities, where the organization says we believe in this future. We want to see unplanned downtime eliminated, and we want our maintenance teams as proactive as they can possibly be on every single day instead of reactive and always fighting fires. When we begin to look at like how do you manifest that over the next several years, one, it really starts with the asset and being able to have a really holistic view of what matters in terms of condition monitoring, right? So vibration and temperature, vibration specifically is by far the primary condition you would want to monitor for rotating equipment. But there are other things that are important, right? What is the lubrication strategy and oil analysis within a particular asset? Is there a need for ultrasonic sensing? Is power and understanding current an important part of what it takes to monitor a particular asset? So when we think about the platform, we start to think about, okay, how do we start to create this view for the customer where they can see all of this in one place? And then from there, how do we make sure that we maintain the culture that we have of having the CMEs, condition monitoring engineers, and having them be as proactive and helping our customers be proactive as possible? But also, if we scale to serve customers on a global basis, that just becomes very big. So how do we actually begin to really make significant investments in artificial intelligence and machine learning to be able to ramp up the prescriptive insights at a scale that is very significant, and even derive more learning from that.
Yes.
And then
So go ahead. Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, if I may interrupt for a second, I'm
please.
thinking about the CMEs, and albeit they're incredibly intelligent, talented individuals. Um, the way I'm hearing this, they're actually going to hop on a phone or send an email or a message to say, this is what we've discovered, and this is the proper course of action. Correct? I mean, am I right so far?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's our current state.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So as you develop kind of a historical list of responses that could be sort of relegated to some kind of an AI type, um, like a artificial intelligence CME. They could say, 9 out of 10 times, if this is the challenge, this is the solution, and you can kind of package that up. But there's still going to be instances where, as you go global, where you're going to have um, deeper dive analysis. I would imagine the more sophisticated you get, the more someone's going to have to be at the throttle there and say, wait a minute, let me look at this closer. I'm assuming, but AI is going to have its part here. The thing I was thinking. Go ahead, please.
No, I was gonna say, but I think you hit the nail on the head. Is it has its part, right? And so the question is, what is that part? We actually believe that you never remove the value of the CME from the equation. There's so much context, especially when you get into some of the more complex situations, where you have to have that context with the customer. You've got to be able to talk through the details of what's going on. And again, it's the if this then that,
Right.
and you can get to some derivatives of that. So we are, the way we view it is, what machine learning does is it empowers our CMEs and the customer, and scales their output in a very significant way.
Right. So how many CMEs do you have running right now? If you're allowed to talk about that, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question. Is how many employees do we have right now?
Yeah.
It's a number that is continues to go up pretty quickly. So I think we're like 12 or 13, maybe 14 in terms of CMEs. We have the leader of the team, Jadev Krishnan, was one of our first CMEs, and he is phenomenal. I mean, he's helped shape the culture, the work, and it's a lot of the CMEs. It's a very different experience because these are individuals that were in manufacturing and facility trained, often on the vibration techniques over the last couple of decades. And now you're kind of in this environment where you're working remote and you're looking at, thousands of monitoring points, and, across dozens of customers. And how do you do the role effectively? And I'll just tell you, they do the role effectively. It's JDev's built an incredible organization there. They don't miss
Nice.
things, so they just
That's
don't.
great.
Yeah, they don't miss issues.
Wonderful. Now, as you go global, you'll probably have to get into some language related, CMEs too, where if their first language is English, but they're talking to somebody in Germany, they may have to.
Yep.
I'm sure you've got allocations for things like that too. Are you looking to hire different people with different language skills and things like that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say um, in terms of near-term execution, there is still such an overwhelmingly massive opportunity in North America, and
Right.
that's a lot of, especially this year, over the next probably 18 months, just heavy focus there. But a lot of what we've um, done over the last few years is kind of working with our customers, and they're pulling us into different areas, and that is beginning to be into facilities that they have in other countries. It's very challenging to create that type of global impact and scale, but we've got the right team of leaders that many have experienced it, which is great. And then how do we thoughtfully think about that over the next 24 to 36 months?
Yeah. Wow. Your work is definitely cut out for you. That's why I asked that because
I just
usually,
kick back. I just kick
yeah.
back and hang out with awesome people like you, man. This is great.
Well, I'll get the word out both in North America and in the European community for sure. And
Appreciate
then,
that.
like I said, Vero, the product Vero in Italian means truth, which is a
Yes.
very clever. You got a picture of that? You want to show that of the Vero or
Yeah, sure.
or your current new product that we've got? Let me get my glasses on. Let me look.
Yeah.
Yeah, look how cool this is.
Yeah. So this is our new website.
Yeah.
This is oops, sorry. I
Yeah, I
scrolled a
love
little too
that.
fast.
Yeah, as you scroll down, it
Yeah.
kind of builds it. This is very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So it's the sensor is like you mentioned, it's relatively small. It's kind of like a pepper, salt and
Yeah.
pepper shaker
Yeah.
size is a good way to think about it. But very durable. And again, super easy to implement and install. But yeah, we had a lot of fun with this site. Worked with a great group to build it out, and really everything's about making it simple in terms of telling the customer the journey that we hope to take them on, and then ultimately what are the outcomes that we're all driving for, in partnership with the customer. And we there are a couple of interesting things, like when, because our whole system is packaged in a subscription model. So we try to, again, keep it super easy, um, remove friction from the process of buying and implementing and experiencing the value. And so we put all of the services that we provide, all of the hardware, all of the software access, into one simple price per
Right.
monitoring point that we charge on a monthly basis. And so it's a recurring revenue, it's a subscription type buying process for our customer. And what's nice about that is it sets up this interesting view of ROI. And what I mean by that, and we call it dynamic ROI, which is, as our customer pays us from a month to month perspective, that cost builds for them over time. But also at the same time, we are detecting these issues and helping the facility teams resolve those issues. And whenever they resolve it, there is a very measurable cost avoidance, right? And that could be the actual cost of the equipment if we're able to address the softwood issue before it led to a motor failure. What would have the cost of that motor replacement? What would that have been? That's one very real cost that is known. And then secondarily, if that motor would have failed during production, how many hours would we estimate that would have gone down? And what is the cost of that downtime? And that's where you really begin to see, you pull those two things together. And that's what we consider to be of the return on investment of proactive maintenance of these teams that are in there doing the work to eliminate unplanned downtime. And we actually believe and want our direct customers, our maintenance and reliability teams. We want their organizations to know how much of a profit center they actually are in the context of doing this work. Eliminating unplanned downtime and being able to measure that impact is significant. And so we track and have tools and always improving on these tools to track dynamic ROI over time. So we serve 11 industries as I mentioned, and what's interesting is if you look at like over the course of a year,
Right.
you'll often have several, I call them singles, right? So you could have dozens of singles from a wins perspective, singles or doubles. So these are the $15,000 save or $40,000 save. And those are great. And you want to have all of those wins.
Sure.
But then you have some triples and you have some home runs, and every once in a while you have a grand slam. And that's when the true value of this platform is incredibly magnified. And so we've seen wins all the way up to one just very recently, where we saved our customer $12 million.
Really?
We prevented and again, the facility team did the work. We were right there beside them though, helping them resolve the issue. And in one event, it actually would have triggered an insurance claim.
Really? My gosh.
Completely separate conversation around
Yeah.
how insurance risk changes in this new world. But yeah, it's we've got case studies on our site. Worthington Industries has been a wonderful customer for us. Our office is like 5 minutes from one of their key Columbus facilities here in Central Ohio. And they've been just a wonderful customer, one of our key beta customers to innovate with. And so we've got some good case studies from the work that we've done there, and some others in and around plastic film and cement manufacturing. Actually, there's a ton of value that can be created in the cement sector as well.
Let me ask you, so I'm looking at Worthington, and I'm assuming that they're okay with us using their name and likeness. So that looks like steel coils. Is that what they're doing? Is it a foundry or? Yeah.
So they bring in they've got a few. They've got two primary divisions: a cylinders division and then a steel division. But yeah, that's their output is basically bring in big rolls and press them out into other different sizes of rolls. So that's within their steel division. And it's been I think, I don't know the exact percentage. We're in 16 other facilities. I don't know the exact percentage in terms of the facilities that they have in North America. But we've got over 1,700 monitoring points deployed. We've resolved 175 downtime risks so far, and that number again continues to climb. And customer savings so far of $7.5 million, and again that number continues to climb as well. And that's like, again, this we want to be partners and very much on the journey with our customers, and want them to view us as an extension of their team and innovation partners. And like the key is we want to make this a no-brainer. If we're not delivering an ROI that makes it a no-brainer, then we shouldn't be there. But we really believe in this future, and in the right relationships with customers, we've seen these types of results and believe that they're very replicable. I would say Worthington is a very innovative organization in terms of their approach to maintenance and reliability. And they've really helped us shape this platform and this offering.
Wow, that's amazing. And maybe in a future lunch and learn, we could have them on as our guest and chat with them together. That'd be kind of fun. You never know.
Jeremy Lieb is our main champion. He's in the transformation group there, looking across their organization, and just a wonderful person. Several others within the organization that are great.
So I'm a sales guy, you know that, right? So let me ask you, from a sales guy or lady, perspective, that they walk into a currently unaware of AssetWatch's product, and they present this is what we can do. Do you have some kind of a entry level, let me put this on one pump just to give you an idea, or one, motor or something, or a handful, to, kind of the test it before you buy type concept? Or how does that work? How do you get your foot
So
in the door?
yeah, yeah, as you get to know us more, Vince, you know that we kind of go all in on things. And in business, it's really important to put skin in the game. It's one of the kind of founding aspects of our culture, of like, what are we putting at the table, with conviction, about what we can deliver. And the way that we express that, to answer your question, is what we actually do a 30-day trial, and it's a $199 trial. Like, it's basically a free trial.
Right.
And what we'll do is we'll actually put couple hundred sensors out. We'll actually do the first wave of critical assets. Generally, on average, I think our installation is 100 sensors. So we'll send out the field service tech. We'll basically do what is the actual install, and then we give our customers 30 days to experience it. And they're working with the CME, really starting to look at the analysis and the issues that could be addressed. And we put a significant amount of capital at work and at risk with those trials. But one, we want to make sure that our like, there's a short period of time for our customers to experience value, and that it's an easy yes in order to experience that value. And then number two, we just have a high level of conviction and belief in the value that we can provide. And we have a very significant conversion from people who go from that trial into a subscription that starts after the 30th day.
Yeah, I'm sort of writing my own script here, but I can imagine, uh, days after the install, or even while you're installing it, you could say, uh, Bob, my CME just said that motor out there is on its last leg, and they're like,
We've
which one?
Yep, we've
Right
literally had
there.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've
I'm
literally
sure.
had that. Yep, yep,
Because the old days, I mean, you had a maintenance guy with a screwdriver that he put against the machine, and he kind of put his ear against it, or you know what I'm talking about? How they
yeah,
would,
absolutely, yeah,
and by then it was too late, right? Usually
yep,
when you're hearing a crunchy motor or a pump, with all kinds
yeah,
of things going on, it's usually too far gone. So you can well in advance say this thing just needs some simple lubrication to resolve the issue, or the impeller needs to be changed on that pump, or something like that, I would imagine. I mean, can you get
yeah.
that granular like that?
You can get very granular, very
I love
specific.
that. That
And
is
and that's why we
amazing.
see, yeah, that's why we see it as like a very fundamental shift in maintenance and reliability culture, because like you're shifting from, if I do, like, if I'm going to do anything, I'm going to listen to it, and to your point, by the time it's an audible noise, it's already too late. And you're going from that, or the breakdown event, to generally weeks, if not months, of heads up on an issue, which allows you to plan it, track time to failure. So we're keeping our eye on the issue in case it gets worse. We actually have a new feature that we launched that's a rapid change alert, because sometimes, so I would say what we just described, is like weeks and months of heads up, is the majority of the cases. But there are times where an issue can go from, or a machine can go from good to bad very fast. And our engineering team has done some incredible work, and we actually launched a rapid change alert, so we can now detect. Now um, it's you don't always catch everything in those states, because sometimes it is literally within seconds or minutes that something goes off. But um, you know, if an asset starts to deteriorate very quickly, we can catch that, and everything is like, all right, let's get this to the customer as quick as possible, and it's like, get on it right now.
So my mind is just spinning with the possibilities here, because I'm thinking I mean, you actually could possibly save lives too. I mean, if something's getting out of control, uh, it's at that point it then becomes priceless to have something like this, I would imagine.
For sure.
So not only is there an ROI, but it's even a safety perspective too, which is amazing. I'm thinking about this. So let's say it's a midnight motor that's grinding to a halt. The CME gets on the phone, or is there some kind of a Slack type system, or how do you get with the person at the other end of the plant and say, hey, this is going on, something very quickly just changed. We need to focus on it. How's that work?
Yeah, when I say they're like an extension of the team, the CMEs, they basically are like an extension of the team. So I think most CMEs have like they have phone numbers for all the customers and vice versa. Like pick up the phone and call them. Obviously text, email,
Yeah.
and we're actually working on more and more communications tools within the platform itself. But it's a like there's um it's a level of trust obviously established, and the approach that our CMEs take is they are caring for these assets as if they were their own, right?
Right.
And so that if you think of that as like the undercurrent that drives action, um, then they build relationships with the teams and they communicate um, regularly.
I love that because in a way, if I was to simplify this in my head, it's almost like, the ADT concept where,
Mhm.
you know, we just report what's going on, right? We don't
Yep.
have You don't have a vested interest in selling a new pump or a motor to somebody,
Yep.
or incurring large dollars for maintenance. That's not your goal here. You're literally just the reporting mechanism to say you got a problem that needs to be resolved. I'm making you aware of it, and action should be taken. And here's the action that should be taken. And
You got it.
amazing. Amazing. So let me ask you, how does somebody go from watching Lunch and Learn with Vince, seeing AssetWatch, to saying, hey, I need to call those people. I need to get those people out here. I want to talk to them. I want to get this Will fella out here, or somebody. How do they get a hold of you? They go through the website? Do they call? Do you have sales reps that are calling on factories and rotating equipment? There you go. There you go. Let's see what you got
Yep.
here.
Yeah, all the way. So it's the easiest way, assetwatch.com, go to our site, tell us about your organization. So first name, company email, what role you're in, phone and industry, and hit submit. And our team will reach out, we'll set up a demo, and to tell people about the process. So we have a team of solutions architects, and these become kind of your primary champion to guide you through the process, um, you know to really experience the platform for the first
Yeah.
time.
Wow.
And they'll work on and provide a demo, and then if there's a desire to look at a free install, or excuse me, $199 installation, then the next step is actually a call with a CME, because we want to, before we go out and install anything, we really want the CME that's going to be assigned, to that facility, to get to know the customer, get to know the assets, talk about the operation, and really learn about it, so that we can really help identify what are the critical assets, single points of failure, expensive equipment, that we can install in to really show the power of the system. And then after the CME call, it's a matter of scheduling the demo, or excuse me, scheduling the trial. So
Amazing.
pretty simple.
So the CME gets involved very quickly. I
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Well, let's see. I had a couple of questions here. I think we've nailed them all. Why the rebrand? Why Asset Watch? What makes Asset Watch different? What does make Asset Watch different? What sets you apart from anything else that's out there?
Yeah. You know, not to sound cliche, but I think actually everything starts with the people on our team. When we aspire to build a great company, right? We believe that there is a very, very big problem to be solved in the world, and we want to go after that and create a company that solves that problem at scale as an innovation partner to our customers. And when you think about that, it's we started as a very small company, and we're growing now pretty significantly. But culture really drives and those outcomes, and the team that we built that's now over 100 people. I think we have team members in 25 states. It's kind of
Wow,
crazy.
that's
Um,
wow.
but but when we get together, like the collective input and the individual input to this mission, it matters more than anything else. We've got an incredible amount of technology that we could spend hours talking about. So there's a lot of nuance difference there. But I think the people and the culture and the way that we build relationship with our customer. Like when I say we want them to see us as an extension of their team, and that we care for their assets as if they are our own. Like we fundamentally believe that and mean that. So if there's a failure, we feel the pain of that. If there's a win, we feel the celebration of that.
Yeah.
And that's the culture that will persist over time as we build this organization.
Well, this has been quite an eye opener. I got to tell you, Will. You know, I'm I'm placing a bet on you guys to do very, very well, not just this year, but in years to come. And I'm excited to watch you guys grow, both again in North America and maybe internationally. That's next, I guess. But
That means a lot. Thank you, Vince.
yeah, sure. I would like to know. I told you I met the Stephanie at SMRP, and
Yep.
do you plan to go to do you show your wares at other shows other than SMRP? Where are you going to be next? Is there anything that you can talk about that you're going to be attending? There's WEFTech, which is a huge wastewater show
Yeah.
um, in Chicago this year.
Yep.
So there's ESA, which is an electronic apparatus show. So there's a bunch of them out there. I'm just curious if you guys are going to be at any coming up anywhere soon.
Yeah. So I don't have that list off the top of my head,
That's
but
fine.
I would say if it's big, yes, we're
Okay.
probably going to be there. And big is the inappropriate term. If we feel like it's relevant and we can deliver value to the audience, we'll be there.
Yeah.
I can certainly we can send over that list and make it part of the show notes.
Sure, sure. That would be
Yep.
great. And speaking of that, now here's my if I could do a shameless plug of Epic real quick. This won't take but a
Absolutely.
second. I do want to share we have something coming up, and I'm just going to show my screen real quick. It's going to take a second. So I'd invite you to consider attending this. It's in Georgia. I don't know if you can
Nice.
see that, but it's
Yep.
called Empowering Pumps and Industry Conference at the Water Tower in Beaufort, Georgia. This is a small, intimate crowd, so it's the opposite of these big trade shows. But
Awesome.
it's the kind of event where we want to get people talking. It's a 2-day event. We get a subject matter expert, a roundtable discussions. They have the ability to have labs and so forth. This is in mid-September. You have plenty of time to think about it. But I just wanted you to know that the industry, the leaderships, and marketing folks are going to be there. These are the industries served:
Nice.
chemical, power, water, wastewater, and it's going to be at this place called the Water Tower. This is outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and there's an aerial view of it. So inside the Water Tower are just wonderful labs where somebody like Heather or yourself could go in there, or even Stephanie, or could jump into a lab and actually do a demo of your product. So it's just something I was thinking about. And it's called Epic, and we do
Yeah,
have
it's fantastic.
sponsorships available. Yeah. So again, that's just one of several things that we're doing. We do the Empowering Women in Industry show, which is
Yep.
right after the WEFTAC event. And Heather presented twice now at that event. So, there's some things where we'd love to invite AssetWatch, formerly Nikola Labs, to consider joining us in some of these future events. And as we wrap this up, is there anything else you'd like to add? Well, this has just been a delight to hear and see the growth here. But is there anything you want to?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. We should not let 12 months pass before we do this again, or at least see each other again. So I'll probably try to get there in November.
Wonderful. We'd love to
But
have
no,
you.
this has been great. Really appreciate the opportunity and all the work that you do in the industry.
Well, thank you. And one last thing, we do also a podcast. Charlie, our CEO, we do like it's a weekly show where we touch on the news, and then we have an interview, usually 5, 10, maybe 15-minute interviews. So something that we may want to reach out to you for an update, sort of mid-year, maybe June, July-ish, or something like that. As you guys, so AssetWatch just came out, though. This is new, like this
Yeah.
month, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
Right. So maybe we can get some kind of an update how things are going, and who knows, maybe we can pull in a client on another one of these.
Sure.
So
Yeah, I think it would be fun to talk about the client journey because it's very collaborative.
right, and that's the whole purpose of this lunch and learn. If I can reiterate, the whole reason why this sort of evolved was to just harness and capture some information that can benefit somebody today, but in years to come, if they're looking at, how did they resolve things? How did, and just keyword search and come up with something. And, this may be helpful not only this year, but in years to come. But it's certainly, you know, capturing this information for the benefit of our future. Young people are going to be out there going, oh my God, I need to protect my assets. What do I do? So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
So anyway, let me wrap this up by just saying again, thank you, Will, and the rest of your team at AssetWatch. This is Vince Marino on Lunch and Learn with Vince. I just want to thank you all. If you like what you see, share, like, subscribe, ring the bell. You know what to do on YouTube. But again, I want to just thank you, Will, and your team, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, Vince.
Take care.